Welcome to the Writer at Work podcast again. We're going to do our second mini episode this month of February, and we're talking about hair. So, I'm Miss Catherine MH, and over here is Kit Boyer, and we're going to set that 5-minute timer to talk about 4 tips. Ready?
Go.
Let's do that. Tip number 1, why hair? Because it's super important. Hair can be an identity for some people. My curls make me look different from my sisters who are straight hair. So for me, it's very much, I like to be like, I'm the curly one in my family. So it makes sense to have that identity as part of somebody because it is a part of them. It can help distinguish your characters from one another. I have curly hair. Kit has curly hair. Somebody else has curly hair. Well, we've all just described it as curly hair, but it does look different. Mine has a different style and texture than Kit's does. So it will help distinguish your characters and set up a more immersive world for your readers.
Yes. And there are lots of different kinds of hair, like Kate was saying. You can, and we'll include this in the resources later, but you can go online and find out what type of curls or hair texture you have. Kate, I think you said yours was 3A, 3B. Mine is 3B, 3C. My kids, I have 3 kids, and all of them have different types of hair. They're all different. I don't know what they are, but they're all crazy. Hair is really important to talk about because it can be an indicator of your family history, like if you're mixed. It can be an indicator of your place in a family. Like Kate was saying, she's got curly hair. She's the curly haired one in her family. It can also indicate tensions. If you inherited that curly hair from a family member or an ancestor and you're very proud of it and your sister or sibling did not, and they are, maybe resentful or something, that can create tension. It also can let you as the writer talk about culture. Do people in this family or in this culture do each other's hair? Do they braid their hair before bedtime or something? Do they go to salons as a family every Sunday? Do they have certain styles that are reserved for adults and certain styles that are considered childish? Some that are considered unprofessional and some that are considered, like very elegant, stuff like that.
Which leads us to tip number 2. And tip number 2 is description. You should be using all 5 senses to describe a person's hair. If I was to say, I walked past the person with straight blonde hair, cool. But now, if I was to say, as I was walking past the person with straight blonde hair that was clumped because of the amount of grease, with dandruff trickling off onto their shoulders, with the smell so strong it made me gag, that gives you such a better description, and it gives you more into the character who's walking past that person and what they think of hygiene, and the character who they just passed who hasn't been doing much with their hair. So it gives you more description. I mean, maybe you can throw taste in there along with style. Who knows?
No, do not do that. Do include styles. Different, hair textures have different styles that they're known for. And also style can indicate time period. Do you remember the 2000s when everybody had pins straight? They would straighten their hair every morning and it would just be like really flat and gross looking, just like that's from that time, so remember to include styles. And then, yeah, please don't include taste. That's my only other thing. You don't need all 5 senses.
That leads us to tip number 3, which is men versus women hairstyles and descriptions. We describe in books women's hair in a great detail and then leave out the men's hair. Or we just make it so vague that it's like, cool, they all have the same hairstyle. But you got to think there's the difference between being bald, having a receding hairline, which adds into a cultural identity sometimes and just an identity for the person. And then there's facial hair. Guys have a lot of facial hair. You can have the lumberjack, really big beard. You can have the Viking style where that's all braided. You can have the, mustache that's all twirled and they're all sophisticated because it's twirled. So there's different styles. There's different ways to describe them. It will help you immerse your character in that world.
Mm-hmm. And then make sure you're spending as much time on men's hair as women's hair. And then also think about if you're including trans people, don't forget to include their hairstyles and hair stuff, like facial hair too. So are they super proud because they've been on testosterone for a year and they're finally growing out their tiny little mustache? Or are they like, you know, do they have to like shave every day, like meticulously to make sure they don't have any facial hair when they go out and they, you know, look, they pass better or whatever. Just think of stuff like that. And then our final tip, number 4, we have some resources down below. We have a website that has hair textures and talk about how to describe hair. And also another thing you can do is talk to a salon. They have style books. They have lots of knowledge about hair, men, women, people in between, you know, people who don't identify, children's hair, all that kind of stuff. So those are some good resources for you. Ah, we did it. Ah.
Yes. All right. Another real quick tip is just to make sure that you don't go out and just touch people's hair.
Oh, yeah.
Most people don't like to just have their hair touched. All
Don't
right.
do
I
it.
don't like my curls bounced. I don't like people being like, let me pet you. I'm not, no, please don't pet me.
Yeah, not an animal. You don't have to put your greasy hands on me. It's fine.
Yeah. My hair was just washed. I don't want grease in it.
Yeah.
So that's it. Those are our tips for this episode. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Bye.
Bye.